All right, good morning, everyone, and it's Sunday, the 4th of July. So happy 4th of July, although it's not 4th of July in the States yet. Now, apologies for the background noise and if there's some flashes of light, because in Perth today it's pretty bad. Sort of rainstorm, storm, maybe some thunder. It won't be me just farting as well. If you do hear what sounds like thunder, it is actually likely thunder. Now, what I'll start with this first. So this is the Friday and end of week recap. Evernote here. So I didn't end up taking any trades, slightly green for the week as well. Now I did miss the flight center bounce off VWAP at around 1520. I would have liked to get up the charts on Spark, but I'm having some technical issues with that. I'm going to have to call them tomorrow morning. So I do apologize. That video will be coming next week in regards to how I use Spark and things like that. In finding stocks and things like that. But again, it's from a beginner's perspective, honestly, with the day trading and how to go about it. But I do really want to continue to be transparent. So there were some IPOs out as well. The markets did feel a bit lacking with NFP. It was very thin, and that was something, the main stuff I watch are FMG. I watch Bet as well. That didn't want to bounce. There was a blue Bet IPO, and it just seemed to really take quite a lot of attention off Bet, and that sunk to around 104. So there's definitely opportunities there. But in the lead up to NFP, the market was pretty, I guess with the stocks I watch, and I'm trying my best to branch out a little more as well. So that's something I'm really working on, and I had a little bit more diversity this week as well. So if we go to the 28th, so this is pretty good. This was Afterpay sell trade. Now I did go outside my typical stocks. Tech was selling off in the morning, particularly Afterpay and Zip. Now, another thing to take into consideration is that it's the end of financial year was approaching, and Afterpay especially had a big month. It was up 29% or something like that. So this is selling off quite a bit. If we go to the chart, you see this as well. I mean, my entry wasn't spectacular. I'm really getting in there. Obviously, context is very valuable, but it came up here and didn't even get to VWAP, broke down. I got in after what looked like, it was trying to bounce, but it was really, people were just not interested in going long on this stock. So I sold at 21.90 out at 20.43. Sizing was probably about half of what I normally do, but I was happy with this trade. And initial stop 123. Now I'm going to try and not go on and on with these videos. Again, I share all this as well on my Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, the Discord chat, the Aussie Share Trader chat as well on Facebook. So just feel free to check that out as well if you want to read in more detail, but I'll leave this up if you want to pause it and have a read. But this was actually something that was, now I was a little wary. So you're never going to be completely comfortable with getting in on a position, but that we were going to see a mean reversion. But honestly, what I've written here is that the 121.90 bid has really stepped away between 102.13, 102.15, or 902.13, 902.15, and you can see that here. I've highlighted that as well. Might have to, there we go. So that was there, but at 15 they were like, it rolled back, and in the context of where we were as well, it was pretty telling that this thing was gonna, and that's the 50 SMA there, 50 simple moving average. So now from memory, this thing actually did break 120 as well. So I got out a bit of a weekend, and I did get out of this, and it rolled through 120 as well. Someone was calling out 120. It's a real key point of contention with the bidders and offers, and I did roll out. But anyway, I felt that I was getting a little better. I mean, the length of the trade was still pretty short at about 30 minutes, but the patience overall is getting better when I compare it to where I started with. Now the CSR trade. So this was a Tuesday. I'm going to sip my coffee as well. So wasn't particularly feeling well, and what happened here was, so I was selling at 582. I got out at 79.5 and 580. So 580 was where I was trying to get out. But when I initially wanted to exit the trade, because it was there's the entry, and I did give this a little more time, so I actually rolled out of this after 3 hours of holding it, but it really didn't want to break through the mid 70s. Like 74 was holding. It was, yeah. So, but that's hindsight. It's quite valuable. So, and then what I did was I don't know what was. I had a stomach bug, the flu, and I did trade. And as a point of, I want to raise, just don't trade, because I was just out of it. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to close this trade. I'm going to sell. I'm like, I'm in a sell, and I'm like, oh, and I didn't even. And then I got out of the trade, and I completely forgot about this. And so I left it overnight, and that's what that is for. So again, that was a $30 trade or $30 winning trade. I could have shaved off a little bit once it started really, probably bouncing a little bit, but it actually rolled over to later in the week as well. So, but if I have a look at the entry here at 8:31 in the morning, and this was short, there's still a lot of. It was more this trade, and if you read, it's more of a higher time frame chart, looked really overbought and was just starting to roll over. So that's why I got into this. And again, it's in the context of the end of financial year. But from a perspective of what did I research, there wasn't a lot in regards to why it's selling. It was just merely profit taking was my thesis on this. So the 30th is, so this is a bit of a sort of scenario with FMG. So I talked about I was down 978 for the month. Now I got in 2350, closing at 2365. So I just want to talk about, and then the CSR I did close out at 584. So yeah, so broke through VWAP. I'm like, I'm out. So that was that. And then with FMG at the time here. So iron ore overnight in futures trading was lower, but then I didn't check again, and the Dalian chart showed a bit of bouncing, and that's and FMG was just holding firm. And honestly, FMG was still not really a trade. I mean, I was looking for a mean reversion. Sizing was still not too. It was 400 shares. So, but I'm really closing out as soon as it broke would have been appropriate, because it loves holding a range here, and it's just trying to find itself, FMG. So, and what I was also, again, I was playing on that end of financial year thesis that, okay, we're going to see price rollover, which is not, that wasn't happening. People were holding on to good quality stocks like FMG. So that was that. And if we go now to the first, so this was CSR short. So I went again on CSR. Gone in at 566. It had rolled over, and I got out at 63.5. So I was looking for the break at 60. Really didn't want to happen. Got in a little bit later as well. As price, it gapped down. It was a reasonable gap. Didn't want to close up here at 571. Broke down through VWAP, and I got in. This stock is actually, for me, was pretty okay to trade, even though it's quite slow, but it's more of a swing stock, honestly, with how it behaves. And I am timely here, it's nearly 10 minutes. But and then it bounced over, and I actually closed out quite close to end of day as well. Oh no, I didn't. Sorry. So no, I did. Yeah. So I've changed the. I did 1:52 in the afternoon. And with this, it was just looking like it. Yeah, it popped back over the SMA, and it was just. I just wanted to secure some profits here. So that was that on that. And then yesterday, it's Friday. I didn't take a trade, and there was nothing really on, to be fair. And I just sort of called it. The Flight Center. That was on. For some reason, the travel stocks were okay, but I missed it, didn't chase it, and I left FMG. It was just bobbing around, not doing much. So I branched out a little bit, guys, this week, and I'm going to continue doing that, but really ask myself. And I think the Monday was good because I sort of broke down the trade, and there were way more things in my favor than not. And obviously you're not going to win all the time, but I think I was a little bit more considered in my approach instead of just jumping in. And a lot of these trades, really what ruined it for me was adding to losers, and that was FMG, when it was probably short. I was adding as it was moving against me. So, there's two things, and that really throws out the stats, and I'm just not going to be participating in that sort of stuff. Until I get, way more confident my entries are better than, but the problem is I don't have a great entry, and then I have a really even worse entry, and that's what I need to work on. But that is that. Thanks for watching, guys. And I'll come out with another video on Spark and everything. Someone did ask me about that, and I'll put that out tomorrow. Thanks, guys.